and then let set them free. So that's also a very good practice of saving life, and so is conducive to longevity. I think I once read in the newspaper that a group of Vietnamese were caught by the police because they let go about 300 turtles. At the wrong place. so they were arrested by the police.
Because the lake they allow to
right, they don't allow.
They kill the fishermen.
Okay, what do you do about beauty? If you want to be beautiful next life, what would you do?
Offer flowers.
Offer beautiful things, right? And then what? That's another thing which is more important, I think. Right. Not dosa, right? Don't get angry. So it is said in one of the suttas that those who get angry very often are born as ugly persons. So if you don't want to be born ugly next life, then curb your anger. So control your anger as much as possible. Now I always tell people, if you are prone to get angry very often, keep a mirror with you. It's no. And when you're angry, you look at your face in the mirror. In looking, what do you call that? A looking glass, right? Yeah. So keep it with you, and when you are angry, just take it out and look at yourself. Then you'll see how ugly you are at that moment. So you can get rid of anger that way. So having as less anger as possible helps you to be reborn as a beautiful person in the next life. And then about happiness.
No loba.
Yeah, no loba. Yeah, and try to make other people happy too. And then fame. So if you want fame in the next life, well, what would you do here? Service. That is one thing. And then try to avoid jealousy, jealous of other people's fame. So that means rejoice, rejoice in other people's fame, and that will be conducive to fame in the next life. And then the rebirth in a celestial world, that in general is doing meritorious deeds like dana, sila, and bhavana. What do we gather from this second discourse? The main thing. Rather than praying, we should practice, right? We should follow a path of life which is conducive to longevity and so on. So we may pray if we like, but the more important thing is to practice. So this is what we gather from the second discourse. So from these two discourses, we understand that if we like, if we want to, then we can make wishes when we do some meritorious deeds. Wish for worldly things, worldly success and so on, if we want to. And I told you a story on Friday night, right? Making a wish, and that wish was fulfilled. Today I will tell you another story, because that story you can listen from the tape. Now, there were two brothers, and they had a sugarcane field. So one day, the younger brother went to the sugarcane field and cut two sticks of sugarcane, one for his elder brother and one for himself. And it is said that at that time, you don't have to squeeze it. You just turn it downwards, and then the sap would fall into the receptacle. So he picked up these two sticks of cane and went back. So on his way he met a Pachika Buddha. So when he saw the Pachika Buddha means a silent Buddha or semi-Buddha. So he offered his cane his sugar cane to the Pajika Buddha. So Pajika Buddha drank the sap. And then he wanted to offer the other sugar cane too. So he said to himself, if my brother wants money, I will give him money. If my brother wants share of merit, I will give him share of merit. But I will now offer this, say, on his behalf. So he offered the other cane, sugar cane, to the Pajika Buddha. So that the Pajika Buddha took, the sap of the second sugar cane. The Pajika Buddha took back to the Himalayas and shared it with other 500 Pajika Buddhas. So he went back, and when his brother asked where have you been, he said, I went to the sugarcane field and so on. Then his brother said, you should have brought a sugarcane or two for us. Then he said, I did, but on the way I met the Pajika Buddha, and so I offered both of the sugarcanes to the Pajika Buddha. If you want money, I will give you money. If you want share of merit, I will get the share of merit. So the brother, the older brother asked, what did the Pajika Buddha do with my share of sugar cane? Then the younger brother said, oh, he took it to where he lived, the Himalayas, and then shared it with the other Pajika Buddhas. So he was so happy at that time. Just give me the share of merit. I don't want money. And now, both make a wish each. Now, what I want to tell you is this making of wish. The younger brother make a wish. Actually, when he offered it to the Pajika Buddha, he said, may I enjoy all the pleasures of life, and at the end, may I attain what you have attained. So, first he want to enjoy pleasures of life as a human being, as a deva, and so on. And only after that, he wanted to become an arahant. Smart. Is he smart? So this is a wish of the younger brother. But the elder brother made a wish. May I attain what the Pajika Buddha attained. He didn't say anything about the pleasures of life before attaining. So these are the two wishes they made when they offer sugar cane. Now, they lived their life, and then they died from that life and was reborn as a human, as devas, and then again they were reborn as human beings. Now, the elder brother became an arahant when he met the next Buddha. But the younger brother wandered through samsara until the time of Gautama Buddha, 7 Buddhas. You see how long it would be, the time for the 7 Buddhas to arise and disappear. So he wandered through samsara, round of rebirth for this time, and then he became, he was reborn as a human being. So the younger brother had to spend more time in the samsara. Although he may be enjoying pleasures of life, still he suffered the suffering of old age, death, and sorrow, lamentation, and so on, right? So it is up to you. When you do something somebody meritorious deed, to wish for worldly pleasures, or just direct, to the attainment of Nibbana. The story is not finished yet. Now, the younger brother, in one life, became a rich man, and not in one life, in that very life. In the second life. So the elder brother became an arahant, and the younger brother continued to be a rich man. Then the younger brother, the elder brother, advised him to give dana to the Buddha at that time. So the younger brother built a perfume chamber for the Buddha, and it is said that he filled the monastery compound with 7 kinds of jewels, and then let people take whatever they can in their hands not with some baskets or whatever, but with their hand they can take as much as they can as a donation. He gives away. So he was very rich, and so he made that donation, and he put a very high quality precious stone, a big precious stone in front of the Buddha. His intention was so that people could admire the luster that came out of the Buddha, and also the luster from the gem. Now, one day a Brahmin came, and he came there with the intention of taking that gem which is in front of the Buddha. So when the younger brother saw the Brahmin came, he knew, he was suspicious that might, he might take the gem away. And so he made a wish that may he not take the gem away. But the Brahmin just bowed down in front of the Buddha and then just picked it up and went away. So he was very agitated. And so he could not hold himself. So he told the Buddha, when other people take the precious stones away, I really feel happy. I do not have any jealousy or any sadness there. But when that Brahmin picked up the big stone from in front of you, I was very angry. So what could I do? Then the Buddha said, you could do something so that your property cannot be taken away from you against your will. And then Buddha gave him the method, and that is just making a wish. So he offered, it was at the time of the offering of the perfume chamber to the Buddha. So he offered the perfume chamber and also all the jewels, and then there he made a wish that as the result of this meritorious deed, may my things or may my property be not taken away from me against my will wherever I am reborn. So he made that wish. It's very strange, right? So during the time of the Gautama Buddha, he was born as a rich man. So he was so rich that his place, his palace, it is called, was much better than the palace of the king. Like people here, so the president is not so rich as other people here, billionaires and so on. So one day the king, Bimbisara, the king went to visit him with his son Ajatasattu. And so he saw the glory of the rich man, and that young boy Ajatasattu thought, my father was foolish. My father is a foolish man. Why did he not confiscate all these mansions and all this from this man? If I became a king, I will do that. So later on, when he became king, Ajatasattu, he tried to take the place by force, but he was unable to do that because there were guardian yakas and others, and so he could not do that. Then from there he went to the monastery where the rich man was also listening to the Dhamma. So the rich man greeted him, "Oh, Your Majesty, where have you come from?" or something like that. Then the Ajatasattu said, you instructed your people to fight with me, and then you come here and said to me as though you did not know anything about that. He said, "No, I didn't know anything about that. Why did you come to my palace?" "I want to take the palace from you." Then he said, "Your Majesty, even 100 or 1,000 of kings cannot take anything of my property away from me without my wish, without my will, against my will." "Why? Why not?" the king asked. "If you don't believe me, try this." So the rich man had 20 rings on his 20 fingers. So he offered those fingers and said, take them if you can. I don't give you. But if you can take them, just take them off. Now Ajatasattu was said to be a very strong man. So he could jump about say 20 feet or 30 feet just from his sitting position and so on. So he tried to take them off one by one, and he was unable to do that. He couldn't do that. So next, the rich man said, okay, now give a piece of cloth. Now I give them to you. And so he just point his fingers down, and the ring slipped automatically from his fingers. Now, when something is stolen from you, don't you wish that it were not stolen, or it was free from thieves and robbers? Huh? I hope you know now what to do. So the best insurance would be do some meritorious deed and make such a wish. So these stories show that for worldly things we can make a wish, and that wish can come true if we are virtuous ourselves, right? And if we do some meritorious deed. Now, what about enlightenment? Can you make a wish for that? No? Really? But now, okay, let me read to you another soda, right? Now Buddha said in this discourse, monks, although a monk who does not apply himself to the meditative development of his mind, that means who does not practice meditation, may have the wish, oh, that my heart may be freed of the mental defilement, that means may I become an arahant. Yet his heart will not be freed. So if he does not practice, even though he makes a wish, he will not get what he wants, right? Yet his heart will not be free. And for what reason? Because he has not developed his mind, one has to say. Not developed in what? In the 4 foundations of mindfulness, the 4 right efforts, the 4 bases of success, the 5 spiritual faculties, the 5 spiritual powers, the 7 factors of enlightenment, and in the Noble Eightfold Path. So, however much you make a wish, how often you say, may I attain Nibbana, may I attain Nibbana. If you do not practice the 4 foundations of mindfulness and so on, then you cannot attain Nibbana, right? So making a wish as to the attainment of Nibbana is not important. You may or you may not make a wish, but what you must do is development of your mind, or the practice of the foundations of mindfulness and so on, or the practice of vipassana meditation. So if you want worldly pleasures, worldly things, you may make a wish and you may get them. But if you want the supramundane bliss, that is Nibbana, you cannot just wish. You cannot just do a dana and wish for it. You must practice. So without the practice of the 4 foundations of mindfulness and so on, there can be no attainment of Nibbana, or there can be no freedom of your heart from the mental defilement. And Buddha gives a simile. Suppose there are 8, 10 or 12 hen's eggs, but the hen did not sit on them sufficiently long, and they are not well warmed, not developed enough for hatching. Though that hen may wish, oh, that my chicken would break the egg shells with their claws and beaks and get out safely, yet these chicks will not be able to do so. And for what reason? The the hen did not sit on the egg sufficiently long so that they are not well warmed and not developed enough for hatching. Similarly, it is with a monk who has not applied himself to the meditative development of his mind, though he may have the wish that his heart may be freed from mental defilements, yet he will not be so freed. And for what reason? Because he has not developed his mind, not developed in what? In the four foundations of mindfulness and so on. But if a monk has applied himself to the meditative development of his mind, even if he should not have that wish, oh, that my heart may be freed of the mental defilements without attachments, still his heart will be freed from the mental defilements. And for what reason? Because he has developed his mind, one has to say. Developed in what? In the four foundations of mindfulness and so on. So here the Buddha said, even if you have no wish, if you do not make a wish to attain Nibbana, but if you apply yourself to the development of mind, if you practice meditation such as the four foundations of mindfulness, then your heart will, or your mind will get free from mental defilements, or you will attain Nibbana. Suppose, monks, there are 8, 10 or 12 hen's eggs, and the hen has not set on them, the hen has set on them sufficiently long, so that they are well warmed and developed enough for hatching. Even if then had not wished, oh, that my chicken would break the eggshells with their claws and beaks and get out safely, still the chicks will break through the shells and get out safely. And for what reason? Because the eggs are well developed for hatching. And then Buddha spoke about the wearing away of mental defilements, giving a simile of a handle of an axe. Suppose, monks, a carpenter has an axe, and its handle shows the marks of his fingers and thumb. Yet he will not know that so much of the handle has worn away today, so much yesterday, and so much at other times. But he will just know of what is wasted, that it has worn away. It is similar with the monk devoted to the cultivation of his mind. Though he has no knowledge that so much of the mental defilements have worn away today, so much yesterday, and so much at other times, yet he knows of what is wasted, that it is worn away. In this country you may not see axes with handles with impressions of hand on it, because this country is they use machines, and also they don't use things so long. It's a country of abundance, and so when it shows a sign of just a little wearing away, they will throw it away and take a new one, right? So it may not be able to see such access in this country, but in our countries we have to use until it is unusable, and so you can see these impressions of the hands or fingers on the handle of the axis, and so you don't know how much has worn away today, tomorrow, or what, but you know that it has worn away. So and similarly, a person who is practicing meditation, not only meditation actually, who is doing meritorious deeds, and as a monk who is doing his duty to the monastery, to his teachers and so on, get his mental defilements worn away little by little. And also when he practices vipassana meditation, his mental defilements are worn away little by little. That means not absolute abandonment of mental defilements, but it is called temporary abandonment of mental defilements. So they are worn away little by little. But he doesn't know, today I have eradicated, or I have gotten rid of lobha to such an extent, and tomorrow I will get rid of it to such an extent, and so on. This he will not know, but he will know that my defilements have diminished or something. So that actually you can know for yourself. Now I used to be very short-tempered. No, I don't seem to be so, right? But when I was young, I used to be very short-tempered. My father always told me, your anger is twice the size of yours. But, especially by the practice of meditation, I could get it diminished. I'm still with anger. I'm still liable to get angry, but my anger now is very, very little compared with what I had before. It's very important that when you are angry, you must be mindful of it. Sometimes when you are angry, you just go on angry, and you don't remember to apply mindfulness, right? I will tell you one thing. One day, I think about 2 or 3 years ago, we had a ceremony, and they did it at the school. And when it was time, nobody was there except only 2 persons, one Burmese and one American. We were there, were ready to conduct this service. Nobody was there. I was ashamed and then angry with my people. And they came late, and then they said something which made me more angry. So I did the giving sila and so on, and then I came back to the monastery still with anger in my heart. So when I ate, I was still angry. So I was thinking of not giving a Dhamma talk at all at that day because I want to show my anger. Later on, so when I rested before the time for Dhamma talk, I said to myself, wait a minute. You are a teacher and you have been telling other people to practice mindfulness when they get angry, and then you forget to practice mindfulness yourself. So I just say angry, lying on the bed. And then after about 5 minutes, it's gone. I was as good as before. So I was able to give the Dhamma talk as I should. So the mental defilements, even though we may not be able to get rid of them altogether, we can control them and we can make them diminish. If I were younger and if before the practice of meditation I would have exploded at the time, I might have done something very drastic to show my anger to them. So the practice of meditation is very instrumental, say, in curbing our mental defilements, not only in anger but say attachment, craving, and all these. But I cannot say I have gotten rid of say 60% of my anger or 50% of my anger. I cannot say that. But I can say that my anger, my liability to get angry has diminished. So we as meditators should not forget the fact that we practice meditation to get rid of mental defilements altogether, or at least to diminish the mental defilements in our minds. And so we should be very careful, especially when we practice meditation, because when we practice meditation we want to get rid of mental defilements. We want to avoid them as much as we can, and it is a time when we should be very careful not to let any of these mental defilements enter our minds. And what is most likely, what mental defilements is most likely to come into our mind when we practice meditation? I think it is anger. Sometimes we are angry because someone is making a noise, or sometimes we are angry just because we cannot have concentration. We are angry with ourselves, or sometimes we are blaming the weather. In Burma we say, oh, there are mosquitoes and it's too hot and I'm sweating and so I cannot concentrate, something like that. So we blame on others. Always we are upset or angry. Or sometimes someone may say something not intending to offend you, but you pick that up and then you are angry with that, something like that. So we should be very careful. And I think when we practice meditation, we must make our minds so simple and so childlike that we don't even know how to get angry, something like that. We must train our minds like that way. Whatever happens, I will not angry. Make your mind, make this resolution at the beginning of a practice of meditation. Whatever happens, whatever something say to me, I will not get angry. I will not get upset. So this is very important, because the meditation is very delicate, right? Sometimes just a very trivial say something says, and then you are upset. Because although we are practicing meditation, we still have ego. So we get angry. So when we are upset or angry, we spoil our meditation. Everything good goes out of our mind, and then these mental defilements fill our minds, right? So that is letting what we try to drive away enter our mind. So we want to drive these mental defilements away from our minds, and by getting angry, we are letting them come back to us. And so we are defeating our purpose, actually. So especially when you practice meditation, however short temper you may be outside, like me. So when you are practicing meditation, treat your mind so that your mind does not know how to get angry. It's very naive, maybe. It's very simple, so that you don't know how to get angry. So it's very important. If you have this kind of control, say, or preparation made before you practice meditation, then you will really be calm and peaceful when you practice meditation. You won't get angry for any reason at all, because anger can be very devastating, especially you practice meditation. And just as we don't want to be to get angry and spoil our meditation because we are disturbed by other people, so we must take care that we do not do anything, say, that may be offensive to other people, or at least that may be distracting to other people. Because when we are practicing in a group, it is very important that we do not distract each other, we do not disturb each other, and we do not do anything that may offend, say, other people. So that is one important thing, because sometimes people just do what they like, without thinking of other people or forgetting to think about other people. They just do it, and then that happens to be, say, offensive to other people, or at least distracting to other people. So when practicing in a group, it is very important that we do not do anything, say, to distract or to disturb or to offend others. And one way of not doing things to offend others is, what does that mean?
Be mindful.
Oh, be mindful. I thought it was noble silence.
Yes, we have the noble silence.
Oh. So noble silence helps us, say, keep our mouth shut, so that we don't say anything that might offend others. Sometimes we make a remark without any intention of offending any person, but that remark may be offensive to another person. So it's very important that we do not do anything to offend or to distract others. And so one way of keeping that is keeping noble silence. So when we keep noble silence, we don't say anything, and so we don't cause any anger or whatever in other persons. And this noble silence, I found to my disappointment that it is very difficult to follow, especially with our people. But with our people and with my Burmese people, So I try to say enforce this rule, but so far not yet successful. I mean, satisfactorily successful with my people. I don't know what about with your people here. So last time I went to Apple Valley, and then notices on the walls and noble silence. But they simply talked, and I don't want to be hard on them, and I don't want to scold them for that. But I just diplomatically let them know that it is offensive to other people, and so they should refrain from talking. But some people just don't care. But later on, little by little, the conditions improved, and so towards the end of the retreat, I told them, now you are getting near to the standard of Lafayette retreat. So they were happy. So it's very difficult to keep silent, and it's self-control. If we do not have self-control, then we begin to talk, and people don't meet quite often in this country. They have to work, and so sometimes they don't see each other for months. And so when they see each other at a retreat like this, they just want to talk. So keeping noble silence is also very important. We cannot overemphasize. I went to a retreat in Minnesota very recently, and it was held at a place like Lafayette. It was run by Catholic sisters, so it's very disciplined, and they themselves keep something like a noble silence, and so it was very good there. So I wish that that could be everywhere. So keeping noble silence is a very important part of our practice of meditation, especially at retreats when we practice with other people, when there are 30, 40, 50 or 100 people practicing. And also, there is one thing I don't like about IMS, but we do not do it here. We are lucky. And they allow yogis to communicate with each other with notes. You may put a note on a board if you want to talk to another person. So if I want to talk to learn, I just put a note there, say something. And then when you happen to be there, you look at the board and your name is there, and you pick it up and you read it. So there is communication, although they say they don't talk. Sometimes it is just say, oh, I like your talk last night, something like that. So we don't do it here, and so it's very good. So when we keep noble silence, we should really keep real noble silence. But noble silence does not mean not talking altogether. That also is important. Buddha forbid monks to keep the vow of not speaking altogether. Buddha said it is like dumb animals. So noble silence means keeping silence as much as we can, almost all the time. But when there is a real need, say, to communicate with each other, then we can talk. When it is unavoidable, then we can talk. But when we talk, we should talk in low tones, so as not to disturb others. So noble silence means not complete silence, but near complete silence, we can say. So not saying anything, not talking, which is not necessary and which is not conducive to the practice of meditation.
I have a question, Bente. Is that open for question now? Actually, this is the question comment about dana and prayers. As we know, there are many schools of Buddhism nowadays in America, in Japan, and other countries, and some are Pure Land, So they attach a lot of importance to prayers. And when they say dana, for instance, some school of thoughts understand dana as a all the way dana, no expectation, paramita dana. And then for the Pure Land Buddhists, they see themselves as having Buddha nature. Meaning when I say, when I recite the name of Buddha, Amitabha Buddha, for instance, I see myself as a Buddha, as Amitabha Buddha. And by the same token, I purify my mind. Because at that time, at the very time when I recite the name of Buddha, I, in a sense, practice meditation. In a sense. Because in one of the sutra in the Great Vehicle, they said when they recite the name of Buddha, nyaktam baklang, meaning the oneness of the mind. So
the first, saying the name of the Buddha, it is a meditation, right? Among the 40 subjects of samatha meditation, there is one called Buddha Nusati. It's a recollection of the Buddha. That means in Mahayana it is not just saying the name of the Buddha, but contemplating on his good qualities, right? So like Araham Samma Sambuddha and so on. So that is a kind of meditation. But according to Theravada Buddhism, that kind of meditation cannot lead to the attainment of nibbana or eradication of mental defilements. That meditation can subdue or help us to abandon mental defilements for some time. But later on, they can come up again. So it is a kind of meditation, and so it is not a thing to be avoided altogether. It is good to think of, to remember the Buddha, to be reflecting on his good qualities. It's a good thing for all of us, and we also do this meditation. Actually, we do it every day. Some people use the rosary and then practice that kind of meditation. The Vipassana meditation is aimed at the eradication of mental defilements. So it is not we that say that Vipassana is better than Samatha meditation or Samatha is better than Vipassana. But when we read discourses of the Buddha, then we can gather that Vipassana is the ultimate practice. Vipassana is the practice that will lead us to the attainment of nibbana or to the eradication of mental defilements. And Buddha always said that samatha is a basis for Vipassana meditation. Whenever Buddha described monks practicing, say, meditation, he described first as monks as practicing samatha meditation and getting jhana, and then later on he taught about Vipassana meditation. And it's very difficult about, say, different ways to the attainment of nibbana. You know as well as I do, or most of you know as well as I do, that Buddha said in the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, and this is the only way for the purification of minds and so on. Now, when Buddha said this is the only way, this mindfulness method, mindfulness meditation is the only way. And there can be many ways of practicing mindfulness.
Yes.
In the sutta itself, there are 21 methods given. So you can take any one of them if you like, and practice only that one. But in our meditation practice, we practice about how many of them? Clear comprehension, then Oh no, not loving kindness is not included here. Vedana, I mean contemplation on feelings, contemplation on mind, contemplation on Dhamma objects, right? So in our practice we do this at random. But if you want to, you may choose only one and practice it, because there are instances or evidence of people doing one anupassana. I mean, there are four foundations of mindfulness. So one foundation of mindfulness for a long time. Then there is evidence of that too. So we may practice any one of these 21 ways of mindfulness. But whatever we practice, it must be mindfulness, because Buddha said that mindfulness is the only way. As I said before, you may not be aware that you are doing mindfulness, but if you are doing mindfulness, then you will get the results of it. So when the Buddha says mindfulness is the only way, because it is the only way to the purification of mind, to get rid of mental defilements from our minds. And I think it can be self-evident. Now, if we are not mindful, we always get mental defilements, right? We get angry, we are attached to it, we are jealous of something. So if we are not mindful, these mental defilements always come into our mind. But if we keep mindfulness at the door of the mind, then they cannot enter. And so mindfulness is the only way to keep these away for the purification of mind. As I said, mindfulness can be practiced in different ways. So I think we have to accept that. And when I say this is the only way, it is not me. It was the Buddha who said it. And then dana. Now, the best dana is, as you said, without any thinking of results or reward. Danas for danas again. That is what bodhisattvas do. Paramita dana is just that. So, but there are many kinds of beings. Not according to Theravada, not everybody is a bodhisattva. Not everybody will become a Buddha. And so they can choose any path they like. So different kinds of dana are mentioned, but the best kind of dana is, as I read here, to ennoble your mind and adorn your mind. So when you practice dana, your mind becomes soft and so ready for any kind of meditation. But even giving with some rewards in mind is better than not giving. So I was going to conclude this in this way. Now, if you don't mind being reborn in the samsara for, let's say, so many existences, and if you wish that you be rich or whatever in this life, you may make a wish when you do meritorious deed. If you don't want to be reborn, if you want to end your samsara in this life, if you can, then you don't have to wish for anything. You don't have to make any wish. You just practice dana, and then, of course, practice meditation. So dana can be done in many ways, and the best way of doing dana is just doing and not expecting any results, because even if you don't expect any results, they will come. Yeah. So
you open for question?
Maybe one more question. It's close to 5 now. I talked too long today. I'm sorry.
I have a question about the two brothers. You said that the older brother became an Arahant.
Yeah.
At the
next life,
or the life, or during the first that Buddha, the time of the Buddha. So he must have practiced meditation.
Oh yes,
then.
yes, sure.
That was just indirect. Well, it was not mentioned, but we assume that.
Oh yes, yeah. He became a monk. He and then he practiced vipassana and he became an arahant. Since he did not make any wish for worldly pleasures, he became an arahant in a very short time. But the younger one has so many worldly things in his mind, so he had to go through samsara for a long time. At one time, my father was talking to a very eminent Sayadaw, and at that Sayadaw said, "You must make wish, you must make wish." And then my father said, "No." So they were like fighting with each other, and they were very acquainted to each other. So he called my father, "You are a fool," or something like that. Then my father told him, "Bhante, what is it desirable there in going along the samsara for so many years, so many lives, just to enjoy a fleeting happiness?" Then he had to be reborn again and again and again and suffer old age and disease and death many more times than the older brother who just had one more life and then became enlightened. So my father said, "I don't want to make any wish and I don't want to be reborn and anywhere." So he always said that. So the younger brother made wish for, say, worldly pleasures, and so his wish is fulfilled. And so when is his wish fulfilled, you may take it as a good thing, or it's not actually good, because you suffer more actually in the lives in the samsara. But the elder brother did practice vipassana and became arahant. Not just wishing and then doing nothing. Okay, then what do you wish for when you do something, some meritorious deed?
To have
Nothing.
Favorable conditions to guide it to the enlightenment children.
Yeah. So all our wish should be directed towards enlightenment or nibbana or destruction of all mental defilements. So even if you don't make wish for worldly things, if you are going to be reborn, then you will get the results of them. So you don't have to worry about it. So our wish should be directed towards just the attainment of final nibbana. That is how people are instructed when they do meritorious deeds. But sometimes people are more attached to worldly things, and they cannot help making such wishes. Okay, now what will you do when you practice meditation? Will you make a wish also?
No.
Yes, please do. May I attain nibbana, and then practice, right?
Isn't that expectation or greed from greedy even when you wish for attainment?
Now,
Before
huh?
Before you sit down?
I think I told you about this. Attachment or something for attainment of nibbana, right? Based on craving, a man comes to abandon craving, and based on craving means craving for arahantship, attainment, and that craving for arahantship is actually unwholesome mental state. So we cannot say that it is wholesome, because Abhidhamma don't take sides, right? So is it kusala or akusala? It is akusala. But this akusala is not bad akusala. Yeah, in the commentary it is said. I'll read the commentary. Let me see. Now it may be asked whether such present craving for arahantship is wholesome or unwholesome. It is unwholesome. Now, we cannot avoid that, right? We have to accept or admit that this is akusala. Then the commentator said, should it be pursued or not? It should be pursued. So it is good to have such craving. Because depending on that craving, you practice meditation and you come to the end of craving, right? So, wait. It should be pursued. Does it drag one into rebirth or not? That means if, will this craving lead you to rebirth in a powerful willful state? Does it drag one into rebirth or not? It does not drag one into rebirth. So it will not give you bad results. It will not make you reborn as in hell or as an animal or whatever. So such kind of craving is pursuable and it does not drag into rebirth. Such permissible craving is abandoned when its object is attained. Now, the person craves for arahantship. So the arahantship is the object of that craving, right? So based on that craving, he practiced meditation. And then he becomes an arahant. So when he becomes an arahant, that very craving is also destroyed. That craving is also abandoned. So it is said, such permissible craving is abandoned when its object is attained. It's good to have, say, craving or desire, say, to get attainment, but as I have told you many times before, don't let that come to you when you are in practice, because at that time it becomes an obstacle. Because since it is an akusala, it will obstruct you to get concentration. So when you are in the practice, leave this alone. Do not have this desire even. And if it comes up, just be mindful of it and then let it go. Because so long as that desire is in your mind, you will not get concentration. So it becomes a hindrance.
I think if you have a question, 1 month from today, approximately we have 2 days. So please postpone your question because that's it for today. Sayadaw U, I think you can feel your breath. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Vidyo vivajantu sabbarogo vinasatu mate bhavatu antarayo sukhi dikayuko bhava abhivadana silesa nityang uddha pacayino cattaro dhamma vadhandi ayu wano sukham balang. I'm glad that you have practiced with Sayadaw U Pandita. You know, he is very strict person. And once you have been with him, then you can practice with any teacher. but one thing is, I don't want you to slacken when you are with me. So I need to have the same discipline as he has.